So when I'm coaching my clients, boundary is a common issue that comes up. And if I was to look back over the last, couple of years and start to paraphrase the questions I receive from my clients, they will be this. So, it would come in as, I never get time to focus on my work or get my stuff done. So what they're saying there is, what boundaries do I need to set in order to achieve my goals? And then I feel I'm never off. Like, does that client not know I'm entitled to it? Like 7:00 and they're ringing me. So then it's really what they're saying there is, what are the consequences of not setting boundaries? But then it's, everything ends up on my desk, and how do I end up with the most actions out of meetings? So what we're asking there is, what do I need in order to feel more comfortable setting boundaries? And the classic, can people just not see I'm busy? So it's, how can I communicate my boundaries in a clear and assertive way so that people respect them and adhere to them? So I'm going to start off with the first one. So it's like, what boundaries do I need to set in order to achieve my goals? And this really comes down to be able to identify your values and your personalities. What are your values and your priorities, both in your personal and your professional life? And once you know what's most important to you, that's going to help you make decisions about where to spend your time and energy. And then you'll naturally start to set the boundaries. So if we were to look at my example above, like of leaving the office there by 10 to 5, this was a priority for me, as the ripple effect of me not being home by 5 was too high a price to pay. And I needed to be clear on the importance of that goal to leave the office by a certain time. And yes, that was challenged. Oh, just before you run out the door. No, tough, I need to keep going, because that doesn't work for me. You had all day, you had many an opportunity to nab me during the day to ask that question. So you're going to have to wait, because otherwise I pay too high a price for that. So you need to be clear on what your priorities are. So then we're looking at like your work hours. Like you need to set your specific work hours, and you need to communicate to your team and your clients. And I am all for boundaries, but you can't just wake up, this morning and go, right, that's it, enough. Today is the day I'm setting the boundaries. I'm delighted if today is today that you were going to set the boundaries, but we need to communicate them. This is a change, so we need to actually deliver these boundaries now and set them up so they're actually going to succeed. So if you're putting a boundary there and putting that around your work hour, like, it's communicating to your client, like, and this is you, you're not just saying no. This is you saying, look, I'm more than happy to help you, but just between these certain times. I can't just keep walking into my desk, and interrupt me. And if you can start getting into the habit of this is how you can prioritize getting your things done, and then ensuring you have dedicated time for other areas of your life, such as your family, your hobbies, your self-care. I needed to put that boundaries in. I had another life when I went home. I had to get into mammy role. So this is so important for me to be out the door at 10 to 5 so I could go off and do other things. And this is where I'm saying you need to have your boundaries around your communication. So you need to communicate that you can't be interrupted during a certain time. So you have to let people know, be it your spouse, your team, your kids, whoever is doing the interruption, that you need to focus on specific tasks and you can't be interrupted during that time. And it's like maybe letting your clients know that, yes, by all means you can email, but it can be up to 24 hours before I might get a chance to respond to you. By doing things like this can help you prevent feeling like that you're constantly in call, and then you're starting to focus on other important tasks that you need to get done. You also have to have a boundary around delegation. Now, I did a podcast around time management and delegation, so I go into that in a lot more detail. But it's so important to learn how to delegate properly so things stop landing back on your desk. Then you have to have your boundary around personal time. It's okay to have a life outside of your business. I know, especially if you're growing your business, it can become all consuming, but it's so important to make time for personal time. You have to take the breaks. You have to switch off. You have to schedule and create time for your hobbies and relaxation. If you do this, well, then you can prevent burnout. And then you're ensuring that you are making time for the stuff that brings you like joy and fulfillment. That's just not all work. Like, make the time to get to the training session or see your kids or go for a walk in the evening with your friends or your partner. Like, make the time, put the boundary around your personal time. And we have to put a boundary around saying no. And like, it's so important to be clear on your priorities and goals. And this all helps when saying no. So if you think about it, like, if a request comes in, can you do this? Can you look at this? Can you help me with this? Can you do this? If this doesn't align with your priority, you need to look at it kind of going, is this getting me closer or is this a distraction? And you are going to have to put a boundary around your time and it could be saying no in that moment. It's not no forever, but like, no, I can't actually look at that right now. Come back to me in 2 hours and I'll be able to do it. And by putting these in and being absolutely focused on what your priority is, this can all help you avoid taking on tasks or projects that don't support your goals and ensure that you're using your time and energy effectively. So that's why it's so important and how you go about setting the boundaries. But what are the consequences of not? And this is a classic. Like, do you know what? I feel I'm never off. Like, the phone is always ringing. And I never have enough time to get things done that I need to get done. But without clear boundaries, you're going to have burnout. And you're going to find yourself, you could be working long hours and constantly feeling on call. And like, burnout can have serious negative impacts on our mental and our physical health. But then it can also like harm the quality of your work and your outputs. Like, if you think about it, if you're working non-stop, how effective are you really? What's the quality of the work that you're going to actually deliver to a client? Like, it's so important to have a switch off point. Your brain needs to recover and recharge. You wouldn't do it to your phone. Your phone actually can't sustain constantly being on. It has to be charged. It has to recover.